Let's look now at how the press is reacting to the death of the Labour MP Jo Cox. Florence Villeminot joins us once again on set. Florence, this is obviously a huge story in the British press.
That's right. British papers certainly are in shock this morning. Let's take you, first of all, through some front pages. The front page of iNews has a photo of Jo Cox with a way she described herself. Mum, proud Yorkshire lass, MP, and the newspaper says that she was shot dead while serving the people. The Yorkshire Evening Post has a moving tribute from her husband, actually, and it came out just a couple of hours after her death. You can see it says, she would have wanted that we all unite to fight against the hatred that killed her. And you can see the paper calling her our Jo.
Of course, tributes are pouring in from across the political spectrum in the UK.
That's right, including from papers that were completely opposite to her own politics. For instance, the right-wing tabloid, the Daily Mail, has a moving tribute today. It says that she was a truly remarkable woman. What a waste, what a tragic waste. You can see there on the front page of the Daily Mail. Yesterday, she was brutally murdered by a loner with a history of mental illness. Now, The Guardian, in its editorial today, says that Jo Cox's death is really an attack on humanity, idealism, and democracy, and has glowing words for the MP. She was not just any MP doing her duty. She was driven by an ideal, and that ideal is that in a multicultural society, what unites us is stronger than what divides us.
Well, her death comes at a time when Britain is facing deep divisions in the lead-up to the Brexit referendum. The campaign on both sides has now been put on hold. The suspected killer is reported to have shouted at least twice, "Put Britain first," during his attack.
That's right. Now, he's been identified as Thomas Mayer. He's getting a lot of attention, as you can imagine, today. And lots of papers are wondering whether there was some sort of a political motive in his attack. You can see this article in The Independent reporting on the fact that he was suspectedly linked to a hard right group that has campaigned against the EU. It's called the Springbok Club. Now, The Spectator has a fascinating article today that you should really read. You can see it's calling it a day of infamy, that says that, look, Thomas Mayer may have had a history of mental problems, but this is not an isolated act. Lone lunatics don't live in a bubble, according to this article. They are influenced by outside events, and it comes at a time when British politics have become particularly ugly. Now, what's interesting is The Spectator actually supports the Leave campaign, but this article says that the Leave campaign has adopted an increasingly nasty tone. And the article says, look, there's a clear link between violent rhetoric and violent acts. Now, the Brexit campaigners are not directly responsible for Jo Cox's murder, of course, but to quote the article, when you encourage rage, you cannot feign surprise when people become enraged. When you shout breaking point over and over again, you can't be surprised when someone breaks.
Well, Breaking Point is actually a reference to the latest pro-Brexit poster that's been revealed by the UKIP leader, Nigel Farage. That's a poster that's obviously drawn huge criticism.
That's right. Now, this poster, and we'll take a look at it in an article in The Independent here, he's been accused of deploying Nazi-style propaganda. Now, you can see that poster there. It shows a queue of dark-skinned refugees stretching to the horizon there with those words, Breaking Point, and under it, you might be able to read it, it says, "The EU has failed us all." Now, it's sparked major outrage, as you can imagine. It's actually been reported to the police with a complaint that it actually incites racial hatred and breaches the UK's race laws. Now, The Guardian, and if we take a look at their political cartoon today, you can see their take on things very critical here. It's not the breaking point, it's the hating point.
And part of the reason that Jo Cox's death is so shocking is that because obviously the UK is so well known for its tight gun laws.
That's right, and an interesting article coming out of Newsweek's on American magazine, in the light of what we've been talking about in the wake of the Orlando attack, etc. Lots of focus on U.S. gun laws and now UK gun laws. Newsweek says that even by European standards, England is something of a gun-free zone. Excuse me, it's not Newsweek, it's Time magazine. And in the UK, there are just 6.2 guns per 100 people. Now, compare that to the US, where there are 88 guns per 100 people. And Time says that as a consequence, perhaps, of these tight gun laws, well, there are fewer gun homicide rates, as you can imagine. But this attack on Joe Cox, the fact that a politician has been attacked, is unfortunately not a rare occurrence. And this is a very interesting article in The Guardian by Polly Toynbee, which kind of is in line with that article we were reading in The Spectator earlier. It's very interesting. It says that this attack cannot be viewed in isolation. It occurs against a backdrop of an ugly public mood in which we've been told to despise the political class and distrust those that serve. Contempt for politics is dangerous and contagious, she says.
Okay, Florence, thank you very much for that look at reaction in the press to Joe Cox's death.